All right, guys. Do you want to take a seat over there? How about that? There are a few seats here and a few seats there, if you want just to take a seat so you're more comfortable. Okay, how are you? Let me know. Okay, I see you tired. I'm tired too, but I discovered a perfect trick to get immediately in shape, okay? Because motion creates emotions. How about that? So I watched, do you know TED, right? The TED conference. So I watched a very cool TED talk where was this girl talking about power positions. It was a fantastic idea. So she said, look, if you stay 30 seconds in a power position, your mood changes immediately. You feel much better, okay? So I don't know, you have to go to pitch an investor, you stay 30 seconds in a power position, and you feel different, okay? So what's the most famous power position that a human being can have? Which one is? What you do when you win something? What's your position? What you do with your hands? Like that, okay? So that's the easiest one. Okay, so we do an experiment. 15 seconds, we stay in this power position, okay, to be ready for the next guest, okay? I love you guys, Look at you. All right, come on, follow me. Guys, we are tired, we need energy, okay? We have a program to go. All right, 20 seconds. Give me some music and I count, okay? 20, 19, 18, 30, 60, 15, 40, 30, 20, whatever, 11. That's it. Okay, how do you feel now? It's better. By the way, it never worked for me. I tried because, I'm curious, so I tried. So, I don't know, I said, okay, I have to be ready. And I went in the toilet before a meeting one day. And I stayed there like an idiot, like 2 minutes, earth, everything. And I felt the same. So, I don't know. But have a look at this TED Talk. So, I hope maybe someone of you will have a little bit more of energy. So, the next speaker, Jeff Hagins, is the founder of SmartThings. And this Internet of Things is unbelievably interesting for us. So, again, first time in Italy, Jeff Hagins, founder of SmartThings. Hey! Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Marco. So I want to talk to you today about the Internet of Things. You've all heard of the Internet of Things, right? We're going to connect everything in the planet to the Internet, and then amazing things are going to happen from all of these connected devices. There's a question, though. My wife asks me this question all the time, right? Is this really going to add value to what I'm doing, or is it just going to create a world where we add software defects into the physical world? And admittedly, I've had some of those cases at my home where, the lights have come on when they're not supposed to come on, and my wife says, aha, you're not making my life better, right? So let's talk about a thing that I call the physical graph. With the internet, we've been through two evolutions, two epochs of the web. The first being what we call the knowledge graph, with bringing the world's knowledge online with Google and Wikipedia and many other sites. The second has been the digitization of our social environment by the bringing online of the social graph with Facebook and Foursquare and lots of other sites that make up the collective social graph. And we believe that right now we're living in a world where we're going to bring online what we call the physical graph. And that is really the third evolution of the internet, is the bringing online of the physical graph. So what is the physical graph? The physical graph is a virtual representation of the physical world. And done correctly, the physical graph allows you to interact with that virtual representation. As a software engineer, I can do things to the virtual representation, and the physical world responds in kind. It does the same thing. And if I do something to the physical world, like open a door or turn on my car, then the virtual representation will change as well, right? And so they are linked together. It makes the physical world programmable. Right? And it makes that physical world programmable by just about anyone, not just firmware developers, firmware engineers, and they have been in the in the forefront of this for decades now. They're the ones that know how to turn on the lights and do cool things with the physical world. But now we can program the physical world with just about any developer skill set, and even non-developers can program their environment with tools that we're creating. And that leads to a rapid innovation and an evolution where we're going to solve problems in an entirely new way. Because now it will be easy to bring software and even supercomputing power to the physical world. So, what does that mean? Let's talk about some what-ifs. What if you are told automatically when your 6-month-old son was running a fever and your doctor knew to call you automatically to check on your son and see if there was anything that he needed to do? What if a wearable medical tricorder device could diagnose when you were having heart problems and call for the emergency medical technicians and guide them to your location? What if your grandmother had fallen in the middle of the night in the bathroom and no one knew it, but your house was smart enough to call for help and communicate with the authorities while they were en route to your house, while monitoring her vital information? What if your house detected a leak in one of the pipes or under the sink or behind the washing machine and turned off the water valve in order to prevent damage and asked you if you wanted to call a plumber to come repair the leak? What if your refrigerator was able to detect that some food was now spoiled and shouldn't be eaten and could warn a young child not to eat that food and notify you as well? What if your alarm clock woke you up early one morning because it knew that there was heavier than typical traffic and that you were going to need more time to get ready for work because you had to shovel the snow in the driveway? What if your house notified you of a failure in your air conditioning or heating system before it failed and called a service company to come and fix it and let them into your house automatically by unlocking the door and monitored them while they were doing the repairs and then tested the system to make sure that it was really working before they left? What if guns simply stopped working within 100 meters of a school? This is the potential for the Internet of Things. Not just turning on the lights or controlling your thermostat at home, but solving real problems. Solving human problems in new and innovative ways. Done correctly, the Internet of Things will actually support and improve our freedoms. It will make us safer at home, in the car, at work, when we're traveling. It will help us to be healthier, but also to help us to get help when we need it and have health problems, wherever we are. It'll help us to save time. It'll help us to save money. It will reduce waste. It will allow for extreme personalization. Your environments will learn who you are. They will detect your habits, and they will respond to you uniquely. It will improve your control over your environments. It will give us, as consumers, greater choice as we're able to select and control the environments and the products that we make use of. And you'll say to me, wow, Jeff, that sounds great. What could possibly go wrong with a world where everything is connected to the internet and software is running every device and every aspect of our lives? Not everybody remembers Terminator, huh? Some people have concerns, and they're not just concerns that, you know, the world is going to be taken over by an artificial intelligence and we're all going to start to see robots that look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mostly they're concerns about privacy and security, because as we move towards this world of the Internet of Things, there's a lot of private and very personal information that is now accessible to this technology. And so there are concerns about the fact that, in my case, you can tell if you have access to our SmartThings platform and you're authorized to see this information, you can tell that who's at home at my house, and you can tell that my daughters are home, and you can tell that they're even in their rooms, and it's very, very intensely private information that has to be protected. But the benefits are going to outweigh the risks, as long as our things are secure from unauthorized access. I have to be able to protect who can control my environment. It has to be limited to only myself and other people that I grant access to. The data about our things, and it's a lot of data. I can tell you as an example, SmartThings only has less than our first 10,000 homes using our platform today. And yet, with 10,000 homes, we're generating about 200 million events per day from 10,000 homes. It's an enormous amount of data. But that data has to belong to you, to the consumer, right? It's your data. It's not our data. The data about your house and your life and how you're going about automating that life has to be yours. And it has to remain completely private unless you choose to share it. And you have to be able to do that sharing at a very granular level. You might choose to share information about one device. You might choose to share information about your dishwasher with the manufacturer that made your dishwasher, or with the service technician that is maintaining your dishwasher. It has to be a world where the intelligence or the applications are decoupled from the devices. At SmartThings, we don't actually believe in smart devices. We believe in devices that serve a purpose, but where the intelligence is always decoupled, is always separated from the devices, because it gives us more flexibility in how we use those devices, and it gives us more choice as a consumer if the intelligence is separate from the device. It also makes devices much less expensive. This Internet of Things has to be highly reliable and available, and it has to strike a very careful balance between innovation and regulation. There are those who are concerned about the security and privacy implications of the Internet of Things and who would immediately start to regulate what technology companies can do. And the caution here is that this is a world where we need to strike that balance. We need to make sure that information is protected, that it is secure. But we also have to make sure that when there are problems, it is continued innovation and the ability to rapidly respond to those problems that will allow us to resolve them quickly. Thank you. I'm sure we have a couple of minutes for questions because I think I'm early on time. Mike.
Here we are. Let me just get a mic for Mike. Can I get a mic? Thanks. All right. Sorry, guys. Here we are. Cheers, Mike.
There's a company in the UK called Everything.
Okay.
Have you come across them at all?
I haven't.
They're working with Diageo on the big drinks label, on labeling their bottles with trackers so they can track their inventory all over the world.
Yes.
What are some of the other examples of companies that you've come across are doing interesting things like that? But also, I mean, what's the implication for like big enterprise and big corporates who are, shipping stuff around?
You bet. I mean, certainly I think the supply chain examples here are abundant. If we look at globally, there are lots of great statistics on waste on a global basis, that we're wasting 30% of the food that we produce on the planet. And certainly optimization from a supply chain perspective in an Internet of Things world can start all the way in the home pantry, right? To understand how much is left of a product. If I can know that box of cereal or that bag of chips is half empty and now 10% full, then I can use that as information to help forecast production, right? And to know how much to produce. And it's interesting because we are putting ourselves at kind of the middle of this ecosystem. So we do hear about companies that are doing innovative things. Procter & Gamble, as an example, which has lots and lots of consumer brands, is thinking hard about how do we do interesting things with the Internet of Things, and not just from a supply chain management perspective, but even ways to with something as simple as lotion for your hands. If I can tell you based on the humidity in the air that you should probably use some lotion today for your hands, right? That's a better way for them to drive demand and get you to make use of their product.
Cool. Any other question? All right, I'm coming there. So 1 and 2. Hi. Your name?
Hi, I'm Gianluca. You said that what is mine with Internet of Things remains mine. But I feel like everything that is technological or internet related always has a leak. It feels like it's impossible to prevent an hacking or a leak of some sort. How do you assure that
security of
security?
data?
Sure.
Cool. Question.
It's, as I said, security and privacy are a huge concern, right? And it's not only that you're putting your data into the cloud, for example, right? But making sure that best practices are used to protect that data. And this is an area where we're in discussions, as an example, with our government and the Federal Trade Commission in the United States about this, because they're very concerned. And in fact, they've even fined some companies, made them pay a fine, who produced web cameras, right? Because they didn't do a reasonable job of protecting those pictures, right? That they didn't meet the consumer's expectations. And so I think there are, from a regulatory perspective, there are things that companies or that governments do need to do to ensure that companies in this space are meeting best practice from an industry perspective. And I say it that way because best practice from a security perspective is constantly changing, right? It's constantly getting better. So, there are things like, simple things like encryption of data and in place in the cloud, right, for any data that could identify you, personally identifiable information, right? So any data that's personal to you, your name, the location of your house, right? The names of people that are in your family, all very personal information, and it needs to be encrypted in place so that even if there is a breach of security, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've lost that personal information to someone else.
Right. We have another question here. Thanks.
Marco, I would like to ask you if you can elaborate on the concept of decoupling of the intelligence, so where device and where the intelligence stays and at what level. So
I'd love to,
your vision?
because this is a topic that I'm passionate about. And I'm going to use an example, and Tony Fidel at Nest will forgive me, but we actually don't believe in building an intelligent thermostat to control your house, right? The industry, that industry in particular, went through decades of making these devices progressively smarter and smarter so that I could have a programmable device that would control my heating and cooling. And yet what we should be stopping to ask ourselves is, do I need a thermostat at all? Why do I need something on the wall for controlling heating and cooling in this day and age, right? Why can't I just have wirelessly controlled fans and heaters and compressors in order to heat and cool and control my environment? And so by building a device that has all of this intelligence in it, it limits, number one, it builds a very expensive device, right? But number two, it limits my choice as a consumer. I have to use that software because it's tightly coupled into the device. We believe in a world where even if I have a thermostat on the wall and that it should be controllable, right, through an automation platform like ours, but that the intelligence should be separate so that I can go to our application store. We have an app store, and I should be able to go to the app store and find the learning thermostat and climate management app that I like best. And I should be able to install it and use it. And a year from now, if I decide, no, I think there's a better one, I should be able to uninstall that piece of software and install a new one that is better. And so by decoupling the intelligence of the applications from the devices, we both reduce the cost of the device. We can make much simpler devices, make them much cheaper, and we increase consumer choice because now consumers get to choose what intelligence product they want to layer on top of their devices.
That's great. Jeff, I think if it's not any other question, we just let Jeff go. Jeff Hagins, SmartThings. Jeff,
Marco,
thank you so
grazie.
much. Thank you so much.